Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Northeast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, as we look at the hazards map on Friday morning, it is quiet across the Northeast region. As you head back toward the Corn Belt and Great Lakes, we've got some dense fog advisories, we've got flood watches, flood warnings in effect, flash flood watches, and flood advisories, where we've seen lots of heavy rain and thunderstorms over the last several days, and we'll see some of that pushing into the Northeast region as we head through the day today. Looking at the temperature map, we've got 50s and 60s widespread across the region, even into the Corn Belt here. See a little bit of a cooler area here, and that is because we've got showers and storms widespread across that region from Kansas into Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. And again, we'll flip it over and look at the radar here and see the big area of showers and storms. Again, this produced a lot of severe weather across portions of Iowa, Missouri, and Kansas during the evening hours, and then this squall line just continued to move from west to east slowly through the overnight, and it is beginning to weaken now as it pushes off to the southeast. Now we'll take a look first at the high-resolution rapid refresh. I'm going to just dive right into the thunderstorm threat across the Northeast as we get to the afternoon and evening. So we're heading into the morning now, 10 o'clock, 11, 12 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And now we're starting to see those thunderstorms erupting in a line across western New York, maybe some isolated storms across central Pennsylvania as well. But such that we get to the afternoon, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, we've got a couple of lines, a couple of clusters of storms here. And the primary threat with these is going to be damaging winds, maybe some gusty winds and some hail, and isolated tornado if possible. But again, really, you see kind of the nature to these little storms, especially if I kind of circle these ones right here. You see how they're kind of taking on this little bowing kind of appearance here. And that indicates mostly a gusty wind threat with these storms. And so the primary corridor then as we head through the afternoon and the evening for those severe storms is going to be right in this zone here across Pennsylvania and northern New York, and then heading on into portions of New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and down even into Rhode Island as we head into 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon and evening. I think the best chance for some gusty winds, maybe a few hailstones, is going to be right in this corridor here during the peak afternoon heating during the afternoon and evening hours. So be on the lookout for that as we head through the later part of the day today. Now we'll take a zoom out look at a little bit longer range forecast here with the high resolution NAM model. We'll see the same thing though heading into the mid-morning hours into the afternoon, and then mid-afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We're seeing those line segments setting up across this region from eastern Ohio across Pennsylvania and New York. Those will quickly move from west to east across the region, again bringing the chance for some gusty winds, maybe an isolated tornado, and some hail as we head through the late evening and overnight. We'll get to 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Sunrise, we've got rain and thunderstorms out of the area. We should be waking up dry in most areas tomorrow morning and dry for much of the day tomorrow on the backside of that storm system. This takes us all the way to 6 o'clock on Saturday evening, 9 o'clock, midnight now, and then on into Sunday morning, continuing to be mostly dry across the region. But as we head later into Sunday and Monday, we're going to have to talk about the chance for more precipitation across the region. Over the next 3 days, so all the way through 7 p.m. on Sunday, where we see the heaviest precipitation is through that same corridor that's going to be having the most significant risk for some storms, again across western Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania, up through New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and into Massachusetts. Portions of Maine going to get half an inch to an inch as well. So here's a look at the severe weather risk over the next 3 days. Again, today's risk is in the top left. And you see that enhanced risk here, that is level 3 out of 5, so a pretty sizable severe weather risk across portions of New York, northern Pennsylvania, getting into New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts. And again, that primary risk going to be some damaging wind gusts with those quick moving kind of bowing line segments, but a non-zero risk for a couple tornadoes across the region and some hailstones as well. So just, again, be on the lookout for that. It's maybe not exactly where we expect the most widespread severe weather to be this time of year, but it is the peak time of year for those kinds of storms across this region. Now, as we take the jet stream and move it on into the middle part of next week, we've got some interesting things happening. We're going to watch, this is the storm system that's moving through right now. You can kind of see it here, the little ripple in the flow, bringing the severe weather risk today. We're going to watch another storm system move across the central U.S. as we head through the weekend. This is going to begin to lift into the northeast as we get to, this would be getting into late Sunday into Monday, bringing the next chance for precipitation. And then watch what happens to this area of low pressure. This trough becomes cut off from the stronger jet stream flow off to the north, the northern branch there. So we end up with a cutoff low just parked across the mid-Atlantic as we get into the mid and late part of next week. And that's going to keep things cool, cloudy, and gloomy across the northeast region. We have good agreement between the European and the GFS models. Again, the European on the left, got the GFS over here on the right, both showing this cutoff low, again separated from the stronger jet stream flow. with that northern stream. So what happens with the temperatures? Well, they're warmer than average. Now we're going to see them become or be trending back toward cooler as we head into Monday and Tuesday of next week. At times, possibly 5 to 10, maybe 15 degrees cooler than average as that cutoff low sits across portions of the mid-Atlantic. The core of the coldest air going to be found right here across areas just south of the northeast region. That'll be across Virginia's down into the Carolinas. Here is where really some of the core, that gloomiest and coolest weather is going to be as we get to the middle part of next week. But the cooler weather will extend all the way back into the southern plains across the eastern Corn Belt, with really the only warm air being kind of forced through a corridor here underneath a little ridge here. So portions of the Dakotas, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and getting into eastern portions of the Canadian Prairie, we'll be seeing quite a warm-up as we head into mid to late next week. Now, what happens with the precipitation? We move into a drier pattern for many, but where this cutoff low kind of parks, we could continue to see the chance for some heavy rain, showers and thunderstorms across, again, southern portions of the northeast region. That'd be Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. A lot of folks going to be seeing at least a cooling, a cooling trend, but a drier trend as we head into next week as well. So here's a look at the days 4 through 10 Precipitation Anomaly Forecast from the Gfs Ensemble. So this will be May 19th through the 25th. And again, you see the big dry corridor here from the Gulf of Mexico in through the southern U.S., the mid-Mississippi Valley, into the Great Lakes. A little bullseye where it's a little more active here underneath the core of that upper level low, where we'll continue to see gloomy and rainy conditions across the mid-Atlantic. But then a transition zone as you head west to east across the northeast, where portions of upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, that'll be on the drier side during that period, but still picking up on some of that precipitation as you head down toward the south. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, looking at a little bit of a wetter pattern as or at least a wetter pattern lingering into the middle and later part of next week. We can pin down the specific precipitation here with the European model. We'll take a zoomed out look here, watching first for the severe weather threat racing across the region as we head through the day today. It'll be quiet for the day on Saturday and much of the day on Sunday before rain and thunderstorms move back in west to east late in the day on Sunday. So this will be sunset on Sunday evening, heading into the overnight, starting to see some of those showers and storms spreading in from this next storm system across western areas. You've been noticing that we've got a tropical disturbance down here as well. Eric's been mentioning that in our longer range forecasts, and I'm sure he'll be mentioning it in the southern U.S. forecast if you're curious right now. But we see those showers and storms moving west to east across the region then Sunday into the day on Monday, lingering into Tuesday morning across the south. And then this is when we set up that pattern where we're going to be a little bit drier across the north and then back into the Corn Belt, but we'll hold on to kind of a wetter bias across this region, and then especially a wetter bias right here. So I just cluttered up the map with a bunch of lines that I'm going to go ahead and take off here. But look at this, we're heading into Wednesday now, into Thursday. That cutoff low is just spinning there, tapping into moisture from the Atlantic and just bringing it ashore. So the period here, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, going to be just pretty, I guess yucky would be the word that I would choose for it. We'll see some of that rain lifting across the region once this cutoff low does eventually get kind of picked back up by the northern stream and lifted off to the northeast, but that could be as late as Friday, Saturday into Sunday. So not a great next 7 days across the northeast, although as you head further north and west, it gets a little bit better, a little bit drier as you head into mid to late next week. So we'll look at your highs for the next several days, then 70s and 80s across the south here. That sets the stage for the very unstable air mass in this region and those showers and storms, a few severe storms possible across the region. A little bit cooler on the backside tomorrow and Sunday. And then as we head into Monday and Tuesday, we're going to start to see that cutoff low anchoring itself across the region. And here's a preview of what those temperatures are going to look like. Highs in the 50s and 60s. Again, just overall yucky air mass. Saturday morning, waking up to temperatures in the 40s, 50s, and 60s across the region. Here are your overnight lows, your morning temps on Sunday. And a last look on Monday, starting to see some of those cooler temperatures starting across the central U.S., moving off to the east as we head into midweek. Have a great day, a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you again on Monday morning.